Hi everyone, it's Nat here. So you might remember I made a toilet roll album the other day. So I had a number of questions about how I went about doing it and putting it together. So when I got set this challenge in the Creative Hearts group, there was a picture tutorial which I did look at. But I looked at the measurements and that I wasn't sure how big my toilet rolls were compared to the ones on the tutorial, all that sort of stuff. So I sort of ignored it and did my own thing. Just putting together bits and pieces that I've seen here, there and everywhere. So I did make some mistakes along the way with this, so it'll be good for me to go back and do it again and do it a bit better this time. So the first issue I had was squashing my toilet rolls. I did try running them through the Big Shot with the plates on, and they were a bit fat and I didn't want to hurt my Big Shot, so I took the plates, or one of the plates, off, and I wasn't getting enough compression then, so I gave up on that. So I squashed them down and used my bone folder, and I bulldog clipped them and everything, and I couldn't get them very flat. And that became an issue when I was sticking them to my little hinges. I had to hold them for a fair while and clip them, and still probably had a few issues with them sticking very well. Also, it's made it quite bulky, so I did put a rubber band around it which flattened them a bit more, but they're still a bit bulky. So last night I set about flattening these. Now, a beautiful lady called Maria, I'm pretty sure her YouTube is Maria's Miscellany, so I will link that below, suggested that you spray them with water and then put them under a stack of books. Now, the awesome Donna also said stack of books as well. So last night I turned around and I was looking behind me for spray bottles, and I saw the spray and wipe, and I thought, no, don't be lazy. Go in the bathroom and see if you've got your spray bottle of water in there. So I went in the bathroom, I found my spray bottle of water, I come back out to the kitchen, I set it up ready to spray these. I'm spraying away and I smelt something. I looked down and I realised I was using the spray and wipe after all. And I had the bottle of water right next to me. Don't ask me how I managed that. So they stink, but they're probably a little more hygienic now. But anyway, works like a charm to spray them with a bit of water and then set them under a whole heap of books, which I definitely don't have a shortage of. So that's what I did. So I've done 5 of them for this tutorial. I have got 7 in this album, but I thought I'd make this one a bit smaller just because I don't really like the bulk, and because I just want to do a quick little how I put mine together. So there are different ways of doing this, so it's worthwhile looking around and finding what suits you. So I'll just find my trimmer. I've got this. So this is another one of Deborah Rick's String and Scissors printables. So this one I have printed out on photo mat this time, just because I want something a little thicker to do my hinges at the bottom. I think people do them with paper, which would make them more flexible as well, but I wanted to do it with something a little more sturdy. So I've just used photo mat because I couldn't find any white cardstock, go figure. So we will use that. Now with this one I used manila folder, I think, and as you can see it's quite bright compared to the rest of the book, so I don't really like that, hence why I washi taped over the edges around here, but you can still see it in between the pages. So that's why I thought I would print some of the kit that I'm going to use to cover this album with as the base piece as well. So let's see what we can do. I'm just winging this as usual. So the idea is to measure about how wide you'll need your little hinges to stick up in between your roll. So it doesn't have to be too perfect either, but we are looking at about 2 3/8 would work. Even 2 4 might be a bit. 2 4 might work. So no, 2 and 3, I think. So we're doing 2.3 inches. I'm still trying to get used to my inches. So if we take this white edge off, I will do, actually I might go from this side, 2 and 3 inches. 1, 2, 3. So 2 and 1, 2, 3. So you just want to cut a strip the width that you want. Keep it long because I'm not sure, you know, I can't be bothered calculating how long we actually need it at this point. Can't even see my line. It's a bit better. I'm doing a line because I can't cut straight with this thing otherwise. So I'm just going to take the white edge off. So that's the width we're going to need. And then you grab your scoreboard. I mean, if you don't have a scoreboard, I suppose some people use the actual ridge in their cutters to score. So that's one option, but you can just use like a ruler or something and rub it along down where you want the line. Or just your bone folder on, you know, and a ruler to go along. So now we want to measure around about how the distance we want in between each page. Now I mucked up with this, so I'm looking at about 1/4 of an inch, I reckon is pretty good. Now what I did was made mine too wide. With this, my spine was so wide it was out here, it was ridiculous. So I actually cut in between each one of them and re-stuck them together to get it how it is, and it made it a little bit stiffer and everything. So that's another thing I wanted to redo. So we'll try and get it right this time. So I reckon we want to leave about 1/2 an inch and do our first score line at about 1/2 an inch. I don't know why I've got my ruler there. I'm still trying to wake up. So we'll do it at 1/2 an inch, and that just creates a nice little lip bit that we can help stick down. And then from there, we're going to go, just trying to remember how, I think I did 1/2 an inch. Maybe for the inside, because I reckon 1/4's not quite, nah, 1/4 wouldn't be enough. So what we want to do is, it would be, we'll be folding it there, and then we would do, we'll go another 1/2 an inch, and then another 1/2 an inch, and then we'll be doing a 1/4 of an inch, because the 1/4 of the inch will be the space in between little hinges, and the 2 1/2 an inches will fold up. I'll show you what I mean, because I'll confuse you otherwise. So if we fold a peak there and a ridge there, and then a ridge on that one, we've got this, which will be our hinge, which will be sticking our toilet roll to. And then we need a 1/4 inch in between, which I'll fold. So that 1/4 inch will sit flat in between the pages. And then we'll want another 1/2 inch ridge and then another 1/4 inch flat. So that's the way we're going to do it. So we need 5 of these peaks. So I'll continue on with that and hopefully not confuse you too much, but I think you'll get the idea when we're finished. So we've got the 1/2, 1/2, a 1/4, and then we're looking at another 1/2, another 1/2, and then another 1/4. So that's our 2 ridges done. So then we're looking at another 1/2, 1/2, 1/4. So that's number 3, then 1/2. Try not to make it crooked. That's 1/2, 1/2, quarter number 4. Then we need one more, so we're going half, half, and then we'll do another half because that'll be the end and we want a bit of a longer ridge to stick it down. We can always cut them shorter after if we need to. Alrighty, so that should be all the scords that we need to do. So I'll move that to the side. Now we'll just give these a run over with the bone folder, I suppose. So the idea is to do a peak in the middle of your 2 half-inch marks. So we'll be sticking those together and they'll sit like that and they'll be the hinge. So I'll just continue folding these, which I shall speed up. Okay, so now we've done that, we can cut it off. I'll just make sure I've got 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, yep. So I can cut it off here at this last line where we've left ourselves the last half-inch to stick down. Now, I might grab my double-sided tape for this. So I'm going to run a bit of double-sided tape so we can stick our little peaks together like that. That'll just help them hold together while we stick them down. So you want to stick a bit of double-sided tape or glue on one of the half-inch bits for your peak. So you take the cover off and just squeeze your little peak together like that. Now I know mine's all going to end up crooked, but that's all right. And that will just hold it together like that for us. So I'll just continue on with the rest. Okay, so now we've got our hinges there. I might stick them onto another bit of my matte paper that I printed on just to hold them nice and sturdy, and then we will be sticking them into the spine. So, I mean, you could stick this straight onto the spine, but I think just to keep it flatter and make it easier, I might stick it onto this piece first, cut it down, and then stick it onto the spine. So the way I do that is just with some double-sided tape and some glue, because why not? See, it's a little uneven, and that's, I figure, a bit of extra with the glue, and the double-sided tape probably helps. So we'll just stick this onto this base bit. Now I might just grab my bone folder and press down in between to make sure that my hinges, in between the hinges, is sitting flat. Now it's also a good idea to grab one of your toilet paper rolls and check that it's going to fit over the top like that. Because if not, and it's a bit wide, you still can cut down if need be, so that they do fit. So we'll just neaten up these bits. So there's our hinge ready to go. So now it's time to get the cover parts ready. So for that I have grabbed, I think it's the backing of a pad, paper pad. So this is why I like to do the hinges first before I do the cover bits, so I can just put that on there and see, yep, that's about how big I want it. So I might be lazy and just, I probably should measure a bit and then trim this down to fit because it's a bit crooked. So that's about roughly 2 inches would do. So 2 inch square, is it? That's 2.2 by 2. So we'll do 2.2. Actually, we're going to want it a bit longer. So a bit higher. I'm just thinking, how much higher is this? It's almost like a centimetre each way. So I might do 2.5 for the height of the spine. So that will give us sort of a 1/4 inch either side. And then 2 inches, maybe we'll go, oh no, 2 inches should be fine. Just go to 2.5 here. And then that needs to be 2 between those. That's about right. So I'll chop that out first. I might just cut that with my scissors. Now, if I had any sense, I would... My planning's good, isn't it? So we also want to do the front and back cover. So we want them just a little bit taller than the toilet rolls and about 1/2 inch or so longer as well, so that they overhang, these covers overhang the toilet rolls. So we might be able to get both out of this, although it might be a bit short. We'll see how we go. So we want 2.5. Here. So run this line the whole way along. And then the toilet roll is just under 4. So we want about 4.25 would be good for each front and back cover. So let's see what we've got left over here. That's 4.25 to there. And then that would give us not quite 4. We might be able to wing it. How much have we got? Oof. Are they just under 4? Yeah. So with what I've got left to save wasting paper, we've got 8.2. So if we do 4.1, about 4.1.5. I'll be able to make it just, but they won't overhang as long as what I probably should do them. But that's all right. It's up to you how much you want them to overhang. As long as it fits, that's the main thing. It's a bit crooked, but... All right. So that should give us the spine and the front and back cover. So there's our cover. So the next thing we want to do is, now, where is my, I'll just grab that and double check. Yeah, so that's going to sit on there like that, but we've got to cover our covers first. So what I like to do is grab out some masking tape and drop everything out of my drawer while I'm at it, because it wouldn't be me if I wasn't absolutely clumsy the whole time. So now I like using the lines on my board to line these up to get either the top or the bottom sort of flush. You want to leave that little gap in between your covers and your spine just so you can turn them. That looks so crooked, but I don't care. As long as there's a little gap and it ends up straightish. That looks all right to me. Hopefully it shall work. So I'm just going to rip this because we're covering over it, so you're not going to see anyway. So this just helps hold it together while we cover it and keep it more stable. Okay, so I printed out just on normal copy paper some of Deb's lovely digital as well. It's the same one that I used for the hinge, this one, so that they'll hopefully go together a bit better, although the colours look a little different because this is copy paper and this is the photo mat. So I will trim this a bit, and the good thing is because this one was so wide, it was wider than the actual paper to cover it, so I had to cut 2 bits to put together to cover it, whereas this almost fits. The only thing is that you need an overhang to fold it over to cover, but I will use the white as my overhang. Why not? Just so I don't have to use another piece. But yeah, so if your cover's longer than the piece, then you've just got to cut enough to cover it and overlap it somewhere. This one had oh, my tag's fallen out. This one has a join at the back here where I've overlapped the 2 papers that I used. Just going to take the white edge off. You know what, I reckon this cutter's working better than my Fiskars, which is sad. So I'm just going to eyeball how big I want it. So I want a nice little fold over each edge. There we go. That should be nice. Get that in the middle on those. Just thinking I might grab a ruler and just fold over where the white bits are, so I know when I'm sticking it down where, like how to sort of center it where I want it. Just roughly. Yeah, that's about it. that. So again, I'll just use my double-sided tape. Now you might just want to trim the corners a bit. I'm bad at doing corners, so, you know, if you're good at them, then do it your way. And then it's just a case of folding whichever edges in you want to do first. And then trimming extra where it's not working right for you, which is what I do. I usually trim down too close and then have gaps, and that's why I'm sort of leaving them a bit. So I might run some more tape along these edges. Do these edges first. Probably should have just done one at a time with the glue there, but now get into those little crease bits there too, so you can fold your page over. Make sure that it shuts all right. That's looking pretty good. So it looks like it's got a seam there anyway, because that's how the paper is. So yeah, if you did like your two pieces, then you put the seam where you want the seam. I think I had the seam like somewhere like here on my other one, and then covered it with washi tape, and then I ended up covering it with the material afterwards. So that's how you cover it. And then you want to cover the insides before you stick your hinge on as well. So I might be lazy and just use the same paper because I can. So I'm just going to wing this. Oops, I forgot to put any glue on. Doesn't matter. But you would glue, because I don't put the double-sided tape right to the edge and then I use the glue and it holds it right to the edge, but it's not going to matter too much being on the inside. Now again, you want to go down the crease lines with your ruler or your bone folder so that it folds nicely. A little stiff, but not too bad. Okay, so I've got more of Deborah's lovely digitals here, all printed on just cheap copy paper. So this one with a bee, some with some butterflies and text, and then this gorgeous page. I love this one. You could almost do like paper washi tape with it. Nice for borders and that. So we're going to use some of these to cover them. So the good thing about these too is that each page, like if you look at that, it's one page and that is another page, you can cover a toilet roll with each side. So there's one toilet roll, there's another toilet roll. So that's the way I have worked it out with my method. So I will cut this down, do it at the halfway. I will cut the white bits off. And what I'm going to do is show you how I do one, and then I will, I'll show you how I do one, how I stick it on, and then I'll go off camera and do the rest, or I'll just leave that as it so you can see. Well, I'm going to have to do the rest so I can show you me sticking it in anyway. But I'll do the rest off camera or else you'll be watching me forever. I was going to say farting around with them, but that's probably not appropriate, is it? I try to watch myself when I'm on camera, but I do have a bit of a potty mouth. Sorry, I'm not perfect. Yes, so I'll do an overhang top and bottom for the first fold over, so I will show you how I do that. So I will cut that off. I mean, you could cut it about halfway, I think, and that sort of works quite nicely. Yeah, so if we cut it about there. Yeah, so you could probably like cut page out and then cut the page in half. And then you want to stick your toilet paper roll to that. So again, double-sided tape and glue. Now, I'm pretty sure I then cut the corners on this as well, like I covered the front. Now I'm just trying to remember if I took them right in. I might have done. Because the idea with this is to tuck these into the ends of your rolls. It just makes it nice and neat, I reckon. And then tuck these bits over, so. neater. So, and then we use our other piece. And this will cover there. So with this, I wanted it quite sort of flush with the edges, top and bottom, but overhanging on the sides. So. So what I try and do is get the straighter edge of the paper, line it, and it depends on which way what's on your paper goes to, I suppose. Line it up with the bottom of the roll. Doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but pretty close. Now we want overhang too, which I nearly forgot there. And just smooth it down. As I said, I like using paper for this, but you could use your scrapbooking paper or cardstock or whatever. It might be a bit hard and bulky though to use. So, and then I go along and just trim this sort of as close as I can get it. Do a rough cut first. Just go along and trim it a little bit more, which is crooked, but I don't mind. You don't really notice too much like that. And then you can just do the corners, which I do like this. Let's cut that down a little bit. And then I just get a crease going so it's easy to fold once I've got the glue on to tuck these bits in. Now I'm just going to open that up a little, which will make it easier for me. Get some glue on here. Tuck it in. Getting glue all over my bone folder, which I'll have to clean off afterwards. Do the same on this side. Open your glue first, so it shall come out. All right, so that is how I cover my toilet rolls. And I get glue everywhere too, but you know, that happens. So I will press them down again and flatten them out, but at the moment it's good to leave them like that so that they don't stick together on the inside where the glue's oozed a bit. And also you're gonna have to slip it over your little hinge as well, so that's gonna look pretty good. So what I will do is, I've showed you that one. That should be enough for you to be able to do them yourself. So I will go off camera and finish covering my other 4 of these, and then we'll come back and we'll put it all together. So I am back. I thought I would finish covering the last toilet paper roll with you guys because I think I am getting better. I'll let you guys be the judge. I've already stuck the double-sided tape on one side. I sort of started a process line and just did the double-sided tape on one side for all of them and then went on with the rest. Just sort of centre it roughly. I have got the biggest mess on my desk now. I've cut of paper to one side and then all the backing of my double-sided tape on the other side. So now do these corners. Now I just fold them. Makes it a bit easier once I've got the glue on to put them over neatly. Now I have found it easier to do these long sides first before I tuck the other ends in. Glue all over my phone folder. But you do want a fair bit of glue on this, I suppose, because it is cardboard and you're folding it over, so you want it to stick well. So that's that side done. And then this is where if you've got paper, you know, that has text and that go on a certain way, and that's the way you want it, you make sure that you've got it up the right way to do the other side. So now with this double-sided tape, what I have been doing is putting it over the ends here because it will help hold that down as well. I don't think it is absolutely necessary, but that's just what I've been doing. Make it all nice and smooth in there. It's good to make it all nice and smooth because of course you're going to shove tags in there or whatever you like, if you like. All right, so I will just quickly grab my clips. I know I've got some on. I have these big, I don't know if you call them bulldog clips, but paper clip thingies. See if we can do this. It'll probably be harder this time because this is different than what I did last time a bit. So we want to grab our cover. No, we want to grab that afterwards. We will stick them on here first. So you want to sort out what order you want your pages in. And which is the front and back. And get any excess glue that shouldn't be on them off of them. I like that one. Got a B on that one. And maybe we'll do it like that. So that's the order that we want them in. So the first one will go on our first little hingey thing. So I usually like that side. I'll put that side at the front. See, I didn't stick this one down too well, but it won't matter too much. So for this, I put glue on the hinge both sides. This is where it starts getting fiddly. And you want a nice whack of glue to stick stick down the cardboard too. Then you grab your roll and you slip it over the top. And then you pinch it and you hold it. And you stay here forever holding it and pinching it. Now, you probably want to stay here and hold it for a bit to make sure that the middle grabs, because that's the problem spot, because you do have your clips, but of course they only really clip onto a certain amount. This will stick a lot better though because it is so flat. The ones I did the other day weren't flat, so I had a lot more trouble with them. So you want to hold it for a while till it gets tacky and grabs, and then clip it together and leave it for 5-10 minutes, whatever. I mean, this stuff dries pretty quick, so 5-10 minutes and then you might be right to get on with the next one. Or you could do what I do and get impatient and just keep moving along. So that's basically how you put them in. So I'll do one more and then I will finish it off camera. Now, did I just ruin my whole, which way I was going to put things? Because that's going to be the front. So make this the front of this one. So there's room there almost for me to be able to slip that on. Let's see how we go. So you can sort of fold it back, get your glue on, and glue on that side. Make sure it's up the way you want it. Just got to open this up a bit. Slip it over, make sure it's down and pinch it. And then go back to that first one and give it a good pinch again and just make sure it's holding. So you need to be an octopus here. So this is the process, and you just repeat this with all of them until you've got them all stuck on the way you want them. So it's not too hard, little fiddly, but it's not too hard, especially if you've got them as flat as what. I got these thanks to those two lovely ladies who shared their secrets. We're having a bit of a laugh about it online last night, Mary and I. She was like, why don't you use a rolling pin? It's like, what's that? I know what it is, but it's been so long since I've used one. It's pretty sad. I don't even have one in the house. Then I think I suggested that maybe I should just sit on them. That'd probably work better than anything. So... But no, definitely the water spray I think helps, and then the books. But what I did was take the books off this morning. They were nice and flat, so I left the books off to let them finish drying if they need more drying, and then they did curl. Don't know if you can really see now, but just a little bit out of shape. So I did put the books back on for a little bit. All right, I'm going to take the clips off this first one. And I think that's looking pretty good. My other one's sort of just sprung open. You can see all the glue, and I kept having to do it. But because these are so nice and flat, they're sticking great. So what we'll do is clip this one just for now. And it feels good. So now I'm going to move along and do the last three, and then we'll be back to stick it in the book. Okay, so as you can see, I have stuck in all of my pages now, my 5 pages. They're not dry as yet. So after doing this, you'd probably want to give them a good 20 minutes to dry before you mess around with it too much, but I'm impatient. So we'll get on and get it in. They should be dry enough to stay on at least. As I said, lots better now that they're nice and flat than my last one was. This one was a nightmare. You can see there how different the flatness sort of is naturally. So it was very hard to squish them down and get them to stay properly stuck. And I think, they're only just sort of stuck on enough, but I think this is going to be a lot better. So now the last thing for me to show you is me sticking them into the book, which is pretty straightforward. And then from there, the rest is up to you in how you'd like to decorate, which I'm not going to bother doing as yet with this one because I have other stuff to get on with. So it's going to look a lot better, this one, because I used the same picture on the photo mat paper, a little different, but I won't necessarily need to cover that with the wash in that like I did with this one, because, you know, the difference with the manila folder there is quite obvious. So that's just a tip there. And I was going to ink the white edges, but I haven't inked the rest of it. So, but you can go around and ink and that to make things look a bit better as well. So that should fit just good. Now you want to check before you stick it in, just check that when you put it on there, your covers are going to shut easy enough, or else you might just need to trim this a little shorter. So, which I might, just to be safe, just trim it. I know it fits in there and the things do close, but just in case there's any little bit of resistance, I'm just going to take a couple of millimeters off each side. All right, now I want to make sure that we've got it. I mean, it doesn't really matter because I haven't got anything on the covers yet. So that can be the front, and that's the front of that. So again, it's just my double-sided tape and glue. My son seems to be getting louder as the day goes on. So yes, I finished my other one of these and I thought, well, that's it, you know. I wasn't 100% happy with how I put it together. And I thought in the future sometime I'll make another one, but I better get on with some other stuff. And then I think I had 3 or 4 people ask me if there was a tutorial for it and how I did it. And I was going to wait till next month to put this up, but then I thought, no, just get it done. So... But I'm glad I did, because this one's turning out a lot better, I think. It's good to sort of if you're not happy with something, good to try it again until you sort of figure out what would work better. Just checking that these are still holding all right. They're looking pretty good. So yes, I think I'll get dinner in a minute and then I'll sit down and edit this because it's in like 4 different parts. So I have to put them all together. Maybe speed up some of the bits of me trying to peel the backing off of the double-sided tape and then try and get it up for everyone tonight. And there must be a few people keen to make these things. Now I'm going to stick a fair whack of glue on this too, since it's holding everything together. So again, double check which way we want it. Try and centre these somewhat. It's a bit like when you're putting signatures in your other books. You want to, you know, before it dries, make sure you can close it. Now, it's a good idea too, I find, to go down in between, like we did previously, and just squish down in between. There's glue everywhere from me sticking the toilet paper rolls in. But that's all right. I'd rather more glue and then not have them stuck. There is a bit of glue coming out here, which I want to remove though. So you can just apply a little bit of pressure on your toilet paper rolls and make sure that sticks down nicely. So you'd want to just leave this probably sitting up like this for, you know, 20 minutes. Make sure it's really well stick, but for the video's purpose, I will show you. This is our little toilet paper roll album with glue all over it. as I said, that blends in quite nicely, but you can always stick something over there if you want. And the pages, you know, they're a bit stiff because they're on like cardboard sort of stuff. You can flatten them more. I'm not going to force them though, because I know that the glue's still drying everywhere. But there's enough room to be able to get in and embellish. And then of course, you might have seen that I do have videos up of making tags for this one. I showed how I made the tags and how I embellished the cover. So you can go back and check those out if you want some ideas on making the tags to fit in and how to embellish your covers. So you can see that the hinges sort of, let you open and close the pages, or turn the pages, I should say, to be more correct. So that's it. That's how you make your albums. Have fun. If you do end up making one, show me. I'd love to see them. And take care, everyone. See you later.